Welcome to Half a Point, the podcast that saw Collingwood absolutely destroy Casas Blues. Um, we didn't have too much else to smile about here at Half a Point as we both had absolute shockers, me in particular, but we'll get into it. We'll get into all that was round 17. But this week is our round 18 best picks episode where we'll each be giving our five best picks against the spread. To help me break it down, I am joined by my co-host Carlton Superfan. Cuss, mate, how are you feeling?
Yeah, not great, not great. Once again, like Carlton loss, especially when it's the Collingwood. You
Oh
get a few
yeah.
messages, throughout the night, letting you know.
You didn't just lose, you got demolished.
Yeah, we got demolished. Didn't tune into the game. I was just, didn't even bother. And then, yeah, let's not talk about our picks as well, mate.
Oh yeah, shocker, shocker. But it's all right.
Yeah,
We'll get into it. Couldn't be more wrong last week, honestly. But we'll get into all of that. If you are new to the channel, please leave a like on this video and subscribe. We're also active on TikTok, on X, and on Instagram. So give us a follow on those. And also a reminder to please gamble responsibly. All right, Cuss. Let's jump into round 17. Yeah, 0 and 5 for me, 2 and 3 for you. So we just said off the bat, let's get it out the way. Like, I know. Couldn't be more wrong, but we'll jump into each of these games first, and break it all down. So, starting with North Melbourne and Western Bulldogs, I don't know, what are they catching? Like 40 something,
yeah,
42 and a half. I think close to like 52 and a half. So once you saw that money coming on the Bulldogs, you're kind of scared. Everyone was sort of
yeah,
saying that the Bulldogs would blow them out, and I was like, oh, this is kind of good. Everyone's sort of on the Bulldogs here. Like, I feel like this might be a little bit of a trap. They've been covering like crazy. Like they surely they're down for a letdown. And the first half it looked really good for us. Like North came exactly how we wanted it how we wanted them to play. Like that's exactly what you're looking for when you're backing these big dogs, especially catching like 40 points. You're like, okay, this is pretty good. But then, as we see with this North Melbourne team, this Western Bulldogs team, in the fourth quarter, they just pulled away. Yeah, and we saw the score just trickle up, and then yeah, I think we both missed each other when like the margin was like 30 points. We're like, this is not going to be good
yeah,
for us. So,
yeah,
I don't hate that pick honestly. Like, yeah, probably got a bad number in the end. Like I still bet it all up to 50. So the 50 is cashed, but the rest of them were all dead. So unfortunate pick, but yeah, not don't hate it. Moving on to Carlton, Collingwood, we win by heaps. What is it, 56, is it? So
56, yeah.
I don't know. I was on Carlton, so I was wrong on the pick. So I'm not going to boast too much, but it got to a point where I was like, okay, now as a Collingwood fan, I'm just going to enjoy this now and just watch
Yeah.
our boys just pile on. So what did you see there?
Well, I didn't see it. It's because I didn't watch it.
That's
But
right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, from a Carlton point of view, I guess there was that first half trend where sort of in the competition, not really. Because we're still down by like I think like 15 points, 16 points, like at halftime. And then yeah, third quarter was just an absolute mauling, and then yeah, can't really do much after that when you just let them kick like 10 goals, not 10 goals. I think they kicked like 8 goals or something. In that
Yeah,
quarter.
8 goals for 52 points. It was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, there you go. So not much to really see there. In terms of like the line, yeah, it was going after that third quarter. It's hard to sort of fight back after that, especially like from a Carlton point of view as well. So yeah, that was goodbye, that one. But yeah, next up we had West Coast versus Giants. I called this one a little bit. I said, West Coast aren't that great at covering at Optus, especially when they're the underdog, and they showed it again to us
Yep.
again here. So yeah, they're 2-6 now as the home dog. So definitely something to stay away from. It didn't even look like West Coast were a chance of covering. But yeah, that's just what you get from West Coast, I suppose. It's
Yeah,
probably that time in the season where they're just completely checked out, waiting for the new draft picks and
that's
new
right.
season.
Yeah, you caught it right. Yeah, you caught it as a trap, and I fell into it. I mean, it's not like one of those traditional traps. It's like one of those pro traps, I guess, where you're just gonna back this ugly home dog in. But
Yeah.
like with these ones, you look stupid because you're backing in a bad team. So it just looks worse than, a road favorite, which is like a classic trap. But yeah, I thought it might have been the time to cash, but feels like they haven't hit rock bottom yet. So, but that's what
Yeah.
happens. Essendon Gold Coast. I think you're on the Bombers. It was close, but I don't know. You end up losing by 40. So
Yeah.
I guess everyone's saying well done to the Bombers, but I don't know. They lost by 40. So yeah, Gold Coast pulled away at the end. Road favorite. I said I took Gold Coast out of my five, which is regrettable in the end, but I don't know. It was a road favorite. So um, that happens. And then Geelong Richmond. Oh man, I was catching 60.
Uh, yeah, this was a tough one. I think not straight off the bat, but like, you see that second quarter and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah,
dangerous, dangerous area here. I think they were already up by 60 at halftime.
yeah,
So,
they were.
yeah, you needed a miracle there to cover if you're on Richmond. So definitely not the right pick there.
Yep,
Yeah, only ended up
completely
winning by
agree.
72. So
Yeah, but yeah, they just took the foot off the pedal. No, they were
yeah,
going to cover that
yeah,
though. Lions, Port. I really don't like it that you're on Port. Lions find a way to cover the Gabba as big
yeah.
favorites finally. It was going to happen one of these weeks. He was just on the bad side of it, so don't think that was a terrible pick. St Kilda Hawthorn. Lose it by like 1.5 points, I think. St Kilda could have, I don't know, made most more of the opportunities. It was one of those ugly sort of games. Like the game went exactly how we thought it would go. Just got stuffed by the number again, just like the Bulldogs game. So they're pretty unlucky. Sydney Fremantle, great call. Finally, one of our winners here.
Yeah, yeah, I was a bit nervous about this one
Yep,
at the start of that last quarter, but
yep,
yeah, Sydney managed to find a way to pull away. I think the line was 9.5,
yep. 9.5.
ended up covering by 11. So yeah, good pick there.
Yeah, well done. And then Adelaide, Melbourne, another good call by yourself. Adelaide, I mean, Melbourne would have been really unlucky if you did not cover there. You did say last week Adelaide's going to go on like 7 or 8 goal run, and they did,
Yeah,
but Melbourne were already up by like 20 odd or something,
yeah,
so it wasn't
exactly.
as hurtful. So there was a world where Adelaide cover that game. So
Mm.
and that seeing how things have happened this year, it wouldn't have surprised me at all.
Yeah,
But up to that point, favorites had gone 8-0, not just straight up against the spread. They'd covered every single game. So Melbourne was the only underdog who covered. So no upsets at all. Favorites 9-0 straight up, 1-8 against the spread. I was banging on last week. I'm saying the public is going to get slaughtered this week. Could not have been more wrong, but it's all right. So I go on 43 and 42. So after all that, I'm still above 500. So I'm not too bad. Could be
yeah,
way worse.
good job. Yeah,
51%. You're 2-3 again. Is that six in a row?
another week. I think 7 in a row, mate.
Seven in a row. Okay, insane. 41 and 44. Just under 500, but you're still in touch there. So
Yeah,
um, mate, let's bounce back here. Let's put mate, whatever happens, like you go 0 and 5, you go 5 and 0, your process doesn't change. You take the same attitude every week. We forget about it, we move on to the next week.
yeah,
Starting off in round 18 with Carlton versus Brisbane, another Carlton primetime game, Thursday afternoon at Marvel. Last time they played, Brisbane were 22.5 point favorites, and only ended up winning by 28, but that was the finals week one game where it was like 6-0.
yeah,
Can't believe it was that close in the end to covering the spread. Would have been the miracle cover of the year. But this time around, Carlton are 27.5 point dogs. You know what I wanted to do here, man? I didn't. Don't worry, I didn't do it.
okay,
I didn't do it. They were
okay.
in my five all week. Don't worry, I took them out. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, obviously I'd lean Carlton here. Brisbane 5 day break on the road, like it's a classic spot. Any other team, I'm hammering Carlton here. Just can't do it with Carlton. We see when their backs are against the wall, they don't perform. I feel like Voss has lost the locker room here. This Carlton team, they just look disjointed. Like you're versing Collingwood as a huge dog, like, and there's just no effort, and and the skill execution is another issue as well. So, if there's no effort, and even if there is, the skills are bad, then I don't know. With this Carlton team, like they could easily just get blown out here. It
yeah.
feels like the soul has just been sucked out of this team. Yeah, so definitely Carlton or nothing. But I've just been burnt too many times. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely stay away from me here
Yep.
as well. It's just so risky. Like everything tells you to go with Carlton,
You know I wanted
but
to
you
do it,
just,
man.
yeah, yeah, like you just can't. You can't do it. It's just way too risky. So absolute stay away.
Yeah, very fair. Moving on to Gold Coast versus Collingwood, Friday primetime game at People's First. Last time they played, Collingwood were 1.5 point favorites, and ended up winning, but Gold Coast ended up winning by 11 last year. This time around, Gold Coast are 4.5 point dogs. We're going with this one.
I've gone with Gold Coast here at plus 4.5. Mate, I feel like this has to be the top of the market for Collingwood. Like, they've just, I don't know, I feel like everyone's just backing them to win the rest of the season. Like, so it's dangerous waters here. I feel, betting on Collingwood. And then yeah, just the home ground advantage. You hope that plays a bit of a factor into Gold Coast. But yeah, I do expect Gold Coast to win here as well. So yeah, give me Gold Coast plus 4.5 and to win outright.
Oh, you're calling the win. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, give me Gold Coast plus 4.5. Yeah, absolutely love this one. Yeah, just like you said, feels like this is the top of the market for this Collingwood side. I know I've been saying that for a while. They just keep covering, but um, yeah, with this Collingwood side, like it's a bad spot for them. They're going on the road here, and they've just been living in Melbourne really this whole time. And this is the biggest game in the dimmer Suns era, really. Like it's prime time, Friday night footy. Like the effort's gonna be there. They obviously they need to win, obviously to make finals and things like that. So, um, I'm not. As bullish on them winning this game just because I don't know. Collingwood always seems to go. I know last year they lost, but these games always tend to be close, and Collingwood usually tends to pull out the win. So I'm not going to go crazy on the money line. Obviously, I love it. If you play, that's fine. There's value there definitely, but yeah, obviously fish your number. Like Collingwood's a huge trap here, but they've been a trap so many times and covered so many times. So
Yeah.
if you decide to go with them, then fair enough. But I don't know, Gold Coast. The numbers just say Gold Coast, and the points here. So yeah, again, what I said. I know I said it last week. I know I said it last week. This is the week the public gets hammered. This is the week. Look, if I keep saying it one of these weeks, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
generally, there are more sort of pro leans this week than last week. So generally this week, I do feel like the public will get hammered. They were coming hard this week. You can already tell. So keep an eye on those lines right before first bounce because you can really come in on the side heavy if you're looking out for that. But yeah, anyway, Gold Coast and the points definitely the play. Mate, covering all these spreads makes me kind of hungry.
Hmm. Should we order something from the cake sorority?
Ah, yes, the cake sorority, where every cake is a slice of sisterhood or brotherhood.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or a glorious cover, the cake sorority has a perfect treat for every occasion.
Shoot them a message on Insta at the cake sorority and use the code half a point for 10% off your next order.
That's code half a point for 10% off your next order. Your spread is covered with the cake sorority.
Moving on to the Western Bulldogs versus Adelaide. Saturday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time they played, the Western Bulldogs were 14.5 point favorites, but Adelaide ended up winning by 39 last year. We're on opposite sides of that game, if you remember. This time around, the Western Bulldogs are 8.5 point favorites. Give me Adelaide plus 8.5 and give me Adelaide to win outright here. Absolutely love this pick. Um, Probably one of my favorite picks on the board. Like this Adelaide team, it was a bit of a letdown last week against Melbourne. They sort of slept a little bit, but then once they got back into the game, you could sort of tell with this Adelaide team that they're really good and they're really seriously good around the ball, around the contest. So three big forwards. It's a bad matchup for this Western Bulldogs team. We see when they're this type of number favorite, they just seem to get a little bit tight. Now we sort of get into like the pointy end of the season, and this Adelaide side as dogs, you're catching 8.5 over a goal. I feel like that's a pretty good number. It's sort of been trending in the Bulldogs direction, but I don't really care about that. I love this spot for this Adelaide team. Road favourite, obviously. So if you go with the Western Bulldogs because they're on a covering spree, absolutely get it. But I don't know. We've seen with this Western Bulldogs team struggle with other top eight teams. I don't know. With Adelaide catching points, I feel like even if the Western Bulldogs do win, it'll be close. So yeah, give me Adelaide in the points. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I feel like this is a trap, but I've gone with Western Bulldogs at minus 8.5.
Yep. Okay.
I've thought about this for a while. for a while, and I'm like,
This is the
I
biggest
feel
trap.
like I'm just walking into a trap here,
Yeah.
but I've just got to back them. They're like, I feel like they just play like a good quality of football, and I feel like they'll win it in the contest here. And like, of course, I feel like they'll dominate the inside 50s and whatnot. So just having to convert, maybe get a few free kicks. But yeah, I'm going with Western Bulldogs here. Just one of those rogue picks that you just want to go with. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I could be
mean,
walking to the biggest trap here,
coming
but
off an 0-5, I'm not going to say too much. Any other week, I'd be slamming you for that. But
yeah.
I mean, no, it's not the worst pick. Like, it's a home favorite. Like, it's at Marvel. But I just feel like they've just been beating up on all these teams, and their
Mm,
market value is just so huge now. Yep, that Sydney one was really good, to be fair. But I don't know, that all surrounding that was just like what St Kilda, Richmond, and North last week. So I don't know. They're coming up against a proper team now against in Adelaide, and they've covered. They've got to stop covering, surely, right? So,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, oh, we'll see. Moving on to the Giants versus Geelong Saturday twilight game at NG. Um, Last time they played Geelong was 17.5 point favorites at GMHBA. We were both on the Giants that game. Great win for us. Giants ended up winning by 4. This time around, the Giants are 4.5 point dogs. Where are we going with this one?
This one I don't have much of a read onto. I genuinely just had no idea. Like, no bounce back spot for either team. They both versed like a really bad team last week. Um, if I had to go with the team here, it would maybe be Geelong without much confidence. But yeah, once again, it's like an away favorite. So yeah, a bit of a stay away for me there. What about you?
Give me the Giants plus 4.5, and give me the Giants to win outright here. Terrible, terrible spot for this Geelong side. Coming off a big win against Richmond. Yep, hapless Richmond side. Not really a contest. But yeah, going on the road to NG, I feel like this is a. I can't believe like the Giants are catching points here. I sort of made this -1.5 for the Giants. I thought they'd be favorites, like really short favorites. Or actually, yeah, yeah, I thought I'd be catching points with Geelong, really. So seeing this number, I'm a little bit shocked, but I just feel like it's a really bad spot for this Geelong side. And also the Giants' second half of the season, it's a sort of a bet on this Giants team as well. I'll probably cash some, look to play some Giants to make the prelim right now because I just feel like with this Giants team, we've seen them get on runs before. They haven't looked great in periods this year, so I absolutely get this number. They haven't really covered much at NG this year, but I don't know if they've been dogs at all at NG. So, yeah, just an awful spot for this Geelong side going on the road to NG. This Giants side coming off a decent win on the road against the Eagles, but we're not going to read too much into that. It's more of a play on the Giants, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I see again, it's a classic. Geelong's a classic trap, but they've just been cashing.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah, I'm obviously going to stick to my principles, given the Giants and the points here. Moving on to Richmond versus Essendon Saturday night game at the MCG. Last time they played Essendon were 19.5 point favorites. Ended up winning and covering by 23 back in round 11. This time around, Richmond are 15.5 point dogs. Going back to the well, third week in a row. Give me Richmond plus 15.5 and give me Richmond to win outright here. Absolutely love this pick. I know I was on Richmond the last time these two played as well. It didn't quite work out for us, but it was a coin flip game in the end. This Richmond team, I don't know, man. Like, what is this number? Why they've come off 3 thumpings and the number's better? Yes, it
Yeah.
sort of is an indicator of how poor this Essendon team has gone since then as well. But I just feel like with this Essendon team, everyone's giving them flowers for their performance against the Suns last week after they got hammered by 41. So I don't know this Richmond team. They've just been getting smashed by really good teams. But we have seen them be really competitive this year. I feel like it's a good spot for them. I know I said that last week as well, but catching 15.5 versus this Essendon team, you can't really. I think that's the only win of the season as favourites against Richmond, this Essendon side. So you don't really want to back Essendon. Essendon's a favourite, is not a long term winner. We see with these bad team matchups. Yep, I'm putting Essendon in that category now. You got to take the dog. So yeah, give me Richmond plus 15.5. What do you think?
Yep, give me Richmond plus 15.5 as well. I was quite surprised to see, catching almost three goals here. Like that's a lot. But yeah, I also think like Essendon, they like who is there in their team? Like they've got so many injuries
Mm.
to like their key players as well. So yeah, I'm pretty confident with this one. But in the pre in the past that hasn't meant much because it's been going 2 and 3 past few weeks. But yeah, give me Richmond here.
Yeah, love it. Moving on to Fremantle versus Hawthorn, Saturday night game as well at Optus. Last time they played Fremantle, 3.5 point favourites, and down in Tassie, but Hawthorn ended up winning by 13. That's during the crazy Hawthorn run last year. This time around, Fremantle are favoured by 0.5 point. Where are you going with this one?
Stay away for me here. I don't know. I just feel like it's at a pick. Like I don't have a read on this one. You know, like can't pick up who is gonna have like the big advantage on the day. I guess like for playing at home, that should account to something. But once again, like Hawthorn, like they have their moments where they look good. Freo have their moments where they look good, but they can also be a bit of a letdown as well. So yeah, I think just safest thing to do here is just stay away from it. What about you?
Give me Fremantle minus 0.5 point here. I like this one, don't love it. It's obviously scary fading this Hawthorn side, but yeah, I don't know. This Hawthorn side, I just don't think they're quite right, man. Like, I know they've covered the last couple of weeks, but this Fremantle side, this is probably one of their bigger games on the calendar. Hawthorn's sort of going on the road, pretty bad spot for them, but they are catching, I guess, 0.5 point. So I wouldn't hate the Hawthorn pick, honestly. Fremantle have been quite good as home favourites. I mean, they covered against Adelaide. They covered against the Western Bulldogs as 8.5 point favourites at home. Yep, they lost to that Collingwood game, and they covered against Essendon. So they've been pretty decent as home favourites this year, especially against other teams. So I'm not really scared that it's another good team. Um, they got, I don't know, Sydney were really good at the centre last week. So you feel like that will regress a little bit. They're playing in Optus like SCG. I mean, you get so many goals from centre bounce, and they got smashed around the ball. Um, so I don't really expect that to continue. I feel like they'll have some dominance in the midfield here. They have some big targets up forward. Hopefully, Tracy and Miss have quite good games. And then yeah, I love the two rucks is good as man. It's a cheat code. It shouldn't get any criticism at all. Like having the like two proper rucks just gives you such an advantage, especially in the fourth quarter, in the back end of quarters as well. So um, yeah, we saw them rip a game to shreds a couple of weeks ago where they just took over against St Kilda, ended up winning. Yeah, I just need them to win outright here. So yeah, give me Fremantle minus 0.5 point. Moving on to Melbourne versus North Melbourne Sunday afternoon game at the MCG. Last time they played, Melbourne were 19.5 point favourites, but got blown out by 59 at Marvel. This time around, Melbourne are 26.5 point favourites. Stay away from me. I'd lean Melbourne, actually. I know it's a big number, but this North Melbourne side sort of look worse by the week, and Melbourne sort of I don't know. They've been quite impressive against other teams, but I don't know. Playing North Melbourne at the points probably isn't too bad. I think the last time these two played, I didn't really have too much of a read on it. I still didn't have too much of a read on it this time around either. So yes, that's why I'm staying away from it. What do you think?
Give me North Melbourne plus 26.5.
Yep.
I just feel like, they've had two pretty rough weeks, losing by like 50 and 80 in the past fortnight. So bit of a bounce back spot. And also, with Clarko at the helm, you'd expect a bit of motivation to just fight back a little bit and keep it within the 4 goals. So yeah, I reckon North Melbourne will have the cover here. But yeah, I don't have too much confidence behind it, sort of snuck this one in. So yeah.
Yep. Fair enough. Moving on to St Kilda versus Sydney. Sunday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time we played Sydney were 23.5 point favourites, but St Kilda ended up winning by two. That was a shock win last year. This time around, St Kilda are 9.5 point dogs. We're going with this one.
Give me St Kilda plus 9.5. I just think Sydney, they did a lot last week to sort of grind that game out and win it. So a big win there for them. I expect them to regress a little bit this week. And at the same time can sort of expect what's it called? St Kilda to bounce back a little bit after Hawthorn's loss. So yeah, I'm not too hopeful with this one, but I'm just going with the home dog here. So yeah, give me St Kilda plus 9.5.
Yeah, fair enough. It's funny how we always talk about Ross Lyon as a dog, mate. They've been dogs every single week because St Kilda are so bad.
Yeah.
um, but they're probably around 500, I bet, over the year. Probably just under, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, stay away from me. I do actually lean Sydney minus 9.5 here. I know it's a road favorite, but I feel like they're the hot team in the comp now. And I feel like they get on a bit of a heater. I don't really see St Kilda win this game. It's not really a great spot for them, I'd say. Whereas for the Sydney team, maybe they still think they can make the eight somehow. I mean, you could sort of saw a little bit of belief last week against Fremantle. So I don't know. I'd probably go with Sydney here. I don't really see this coming down. If it does, I might stay away from it to be honest. But um, yeah, stay away for the contest for me. Moving on to Port Adelaide versus West Coast Sunday 4:40 game at the Adelaide Oval. Last time they played, Port were 48.5 point favourites. Ended up winning by 50 at the Adelaide Oval back in round one last year, so a long time ago. This time around, Port Adelaide are 37.5 point favourites. Stay away from me. Not sure I'll watch this game. This is about as boring as it gets. Corner TV game here. Um, yeah, no real read on it for either side. If you want to play the West Coast and the points, then that's fair enough, I'd say. But I don't know. This number's kind of fishy. I kind of expected it to be in the 40s. Yeah, it's opened at 37. It stayed at 37. So, yes, I don't know. Must be a little bit of respect for West Coast and a bit of a fade on Port Adelaide, whose season is pretty much done now. But yeah, stay away from me. What do you think?
Yeah, stay away from me as well. Just can't find any confidence with this West Coast team.
Yep.
But then jumping on Port Adelaide minus 37.5 is just huge. So if I had to take a pick, I'd probably go with Port Adelaide as the favorite. But yeah, definite stay away here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That wraps up our round 18 picks. Yeah, as I said earlier on, man, I don't know. I'm on all these dogs, man. I'm gonna play all their money lines once again, man. Like I feel like this is the week. I know I said it last week. I know. But I don't know. I'm not going to say it every week. I don't say that. I don't come out here and say that every week. So there are strong professional leans this week for the underdog. So we said last week like this is the AFL. The competition is so even. Yes, this year it seems to be an anomaly where there's a huge gap between the top nine and the bottom nine. But it's a lot of top sort of nine matchups this week around, right? I think
Mm.
and the only team that's not playing another top nine team is Brisbane. And
Yeah.
who's playing? Who are they playing? Oh, Carlton. That's right. They suck. Sorry, stray. Whereas yeah, everyone else is playing each other. So yeah, this
Yeah.
competition really even. So run us through your five cuss.
All right, I've got Gold Coast plus 4.5, Western Bulldogs minus 8.5, Richmond plus 15.5, North Melbourne plus 26.5, and St Kilda plus 9.5.
So four dogs and a favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely love, mate. Going back to my roots, Gold Coast plus 4.5, Adelaide plus 8.5. So opposing on that. Giants plus 4.5, Richmond plus 15.5, and Fremantle laying just half the points. So again, four dogs and a favorite. We're bringing it back. Still going back to our principles. Yep, we had an on five. We're throwing it right behind us, and we're moving on to the next week here. So, any closing thoughts before we wrap up here, Carl?
Mate, we just need to bounce back. That's all I'm saying. Big bounce back needed.
Mate, join us next week for when we both go for, oh no, that's impossible. When one of us goes 4-1 and one of us goes 5-0. But thank you all for joining this week's episode. Please leave a like on this video. And until next time, see you later.